Nier Automata? 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 Nier Automata was a crazy game. I mean, look at this, great game, I love it. So, of course, when I heard they were making an anime for it, I immediately thought, because generally most video game adaptations are, not good. But then I remembered Edge Runners. My favorite anime of all time was based off of a game. So from Nier Autoplay anime, I was expecting either complete garbage or something incredible. But when I searched it up on my anime list, it looks more average than my It got me thinking, what's with the lukewarm reception? Could this show be mid? And how does it compare to the game? Nier Automata is set in the far The 2017 game is a dystopic world where humans have evacuated to and only androids are left on Earth where they fight these rogue robots made by an invading alien species.
I see.
To me, this is one of the most uniquely made and presented games I've ever played. To explain it simply, these androids dressed as a French maid and pirate run around beating up robots in a small open world because someone told them to, only to end up experiencing several existential crises. The anime is no different, but the action scenes are way more interesting for some of the fights. The combat with 2B absolutely eviscerating these robots live up to the game. The dodges, the hits, the camera angles, everything just looks better than the game. Except for the CGI. The 2D animation in this game looks beautiful. But for some reason, the action scenes they've decided to put in, they've used 3D models from the game to save money. Which, now that I think about it, you know, fair enough. But they did nothing more to make them blend in with the 2D environments. No cell shading, no shadows, nothing. So they stand out so much, it's insane. But, the backgrounds, my god, they're so much more beautiful than the bland gray, brown, flat textures featured in the game. The color, man, it I also must say, it's great to actually finally see what's going on during a fight. You know, a lot of JRPGs have a lot of particle effects and damage numbers, and yeah, I like them. Cause some primal monkey part of my brain absolutely loves it when I see big number pop up on screen, cause big number means that's a lot of damage. But what the hell is this, man? The combat animations actually look pretty good, so why are you shoving all this stuff on my screen? Thank God the anime didn't decide to replicate these aspects of the combat, otherwise the anime would end up looking more like... But while I'm on the topic of combat, another great change in the anime is the removal of all these stupid garbage hacking sections in playthrough 2. You see, in the game, there's all these bullet hell sections where you fly around in a ship and... Luckily, they turned this and made it into this. See? It looks better.
Ignore that.
The other combat issue that took away from the game, for me, like I said before, was the hacking. It has all the same issues that the ship combat has, except it actually looks like it's from the Sega Saturn. And they practically force you to use this instead of the actual good combat system that 2B has, because when you play as 9S, he has the arm strength to swing a sword of a literal quadriplegic. They had Platinum Games, the creators of make this good combat system only to go, hehe, let's make him play Space Invaders. The anime took these scenes and said, get out of here, man, and turned this into this. And they've also turned the boss fights from this into this. The amazing music from the games carries over where it's just like... But sometimes, the music is made in mind with walking around an open world, so it doesn't quite fit, cause every single track goes way too hard. Especially the ones with lyrics, because when they put them over scenes where people are talking, it feels kinda like... What the hell are they saying? What? Now this is a bit of a foreign concept to most video games, but it's split into routes. Not as in you can literally choose the path of the story, but once you play through it, you experience it one way, but you play through it again, yeah? And it's completely different. It changes your perspective. Is what it's supposed to be like anyway. While this actually is true for your third playthrough, and the story changes completely, the second playthrough is more of a revisit of the first, except now you're playing as 9S, and now you need to play through the combat with this stupid hacking system from before. I understand it's to change your perspective on the story, but
This is not a therapy session.
why do you have to play through the game for another 10 hours just to experience maybe 5-6 minutes of extra cutscenes just to learn a little bit more information? I'm sorry, I know a lot of people like this aspect of the game, and I myself do enjoy this game, but I can't see the appeal of the second playthrough, and I'm so glad that they've streamlined both these playthroughs into one story for the anime. Because honestly, I think that second playthrough was just a waste of time, and it kinda sucked. Hello? Is someone there? Who are you? Please don't kill me for this, but I think the plot is also pretty bad. But listen. I'm not saying the story is bad. Plot and story are not the same thing. Story is made up of 3 aspects. 1. The world, the place that the story is about. 2. The characters, the people in that world and how they interact with it. And then 3. The plot, what it is they actually do. Now normally, if you don't have that interesting of a plot, it's fine. If the stuff that's actually going on isn't too interesting, it's okay as long as the characters and the world are. And that's no exception for Nier Automata. But a potential issue here is that a huge amount of the character and world aspects are in the open world and side quests, which don't really transfer over. Walking around the world, although extremely grey and brown and lacking interactability, just has a vibe. The game design is intrinsically tied to the history and lore of the world. So many themes are communicated in ways that are only possible because it's a game. The subtle details of the characters, their actions, but the plot is boring as hell. 2B and 9S just go from place to place and massacre hordes of robots because other people tell them to. The game itself is fine because the in-between the character moments during the plot, you're still playing a video game, so it's not super prevalent. But I can't help but feel like turning into an anime, this boring ass plot is just gonna become so much more obvious, especially with the new pacing. In the Nier Automobile game, you get given these tasks and you do them at your own leisure. So when playing Nier Automotive, you get to experience the plot at this pace, which seems fine. But in the anime, it's more like, when you stack all of these events from the game plot so close to each other in the anime, it feels sort of disconnected because it is. In both versions, you just don't notice it in the game because, ooh, is that a gear? But the anime adaptation has done something interesting to make up for these losses. You see, in the video game form, since it's a game, you have to be constantly controlling a character. Otherwise, it's not a game anymore, it's just a cutscene. I'm looking at you, Kojima. But now that the story is being told as an anime, it has the freedom to tell the story from outside perspectives, to show the side characters and world without 2B or 9S having to be there to influence it. And the anime does this. There's a bunch of added scenes that not only give new context to the stuff going on, but also makes up for the loss of the game's open world storytelling. For example, in the game when you first need to meet up with the Resistance, 2B and 9S wander in like, and that's it. But in the anime, you get to see those two arrive from the perspective of the people already there. You get to know them a little bit, yeah? And you get to see how this world feels from a perspective that isn't the main characters. And by extension, you get to feel more connected. This isn't genius, but it's a good idea. No, it doesn't make up for the removal of like 30 hours of world building from actually playing the game yourself, but it eases the blow of that loss. Would I recommend this over the game? No, not at the moment at least. Why? Well, it's only 3 episodes and it's also been indefinitely delayed. But from what they have managed to put out so far, although they haven't proven that they 100% will make this a good adaptation, they have shown they have both the awareness and capability to potentially do so. And although the bulk of the experience and story will still be the same, there will definitely be some changes to adjust this game's narrative into an anime format, and I genuinely believe that they can do that well. So is the anime better than the game?
金钱阿七，墙上写着金项链的30